It seems like every week there's a new drop of cookie cutter style pocket knives that seem to be almost indistinguishable from the last batch that dropped the week before. Well, thankfully, there are a few companies and designers that tend to cut through all the noise.
And GiantMouse, with their Ace series of pocket knives, has always been one of those manufacturers that when they release a new model, visually the designs are just so organic and striking that I'm like, whoa, who's doing? Oh, I think that's a yep. And then on top of that, you start unpacking the materials that go into the designs, and they really, I feel like, end up being one of the cream of the crop, designs and companies when it comes to giving us quality but also giving us design at the same time, because it's just so, like, there's no heart and soul in a lot of these type of pocket knives. Like the pocket clips are almost all identical and the handle materials are basically the same, and after a while they just kind of all like blend together and get kind of boring and feel like they're cranked out on an assembly line and have no soul to them, whereas these just feel like they have such a life of their own, and I connect with them in just such a very different way. And so you're gonna be getting a 2-for-1 in this particular video. Not only are we gonna be looking at the Biblio XL in LMAX steel. The Biblio was one of the first blade designs that really put GiantMouse on the map. And my understanding is they are now retiring that design and have replaced it with just its big brother. Same idea, just a slightly larger design. And we are also going to be looking at the Yacht in CPM MagnaCut, this being the black canvas micarta. Just, oh my gosh, look at that. Gorgeous. Gorgeous profile, and there are variants on both of these models. These are just the two that we're looking at. There are a few different variants in handle material and even blade steels, depending on what you're interested in. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Aaron, this is Gideonstactical. Let's begin right out of the gate with blades overall, just their performance, right? I mean, the action side of things. They're both gonna have about the same blade length overall, gross blade length of 3.2 inches. The Biblio XL is going to have a cutting edge of 3 inches even, so some of that is taken up with the choil. The Yacht is going to have 3.2 overall, so it stays consistent all the way through from that point on the handle scale to the tip of the blade. Now, these both have very high grinds that are extremely slicey in their own right. I love and connect with very high saber grinds, which is basically what these are. You could almost argue on the Yacht particularly, it's almost a full flat grind. And you can see just a slight, almost the same. I mean, so I really like full flats and sabers on a lot of my pocket knives, high sabers, because they're very slicey, give good durability. But when you're using a pocket knife, you're usually going to be doing like cardboard slicing, package opening, food prep, some cordage, that type of stuff. And so the sliceability really connects with me. But there is a difference in their stock thicknesses, and their height of grind. So on the Biblio XL, the stock thickness is 0.13 with a wider, broader blade, and then the more narrow blade of the Yacht, and it's going to be 0.15 on the thickness, so a little bit thicker, a little bit more, if you will, durable, kind of more focused on piercing, and the Biblio more focused on slicing and a thinner stock. So between the two, the Biblio XL is the better slicer, if that is what you are looking for purely. That is what it's going to give you. And not that the Yacht is bad, it's just I notice a difference. You have to put a little bit more energy, a little bit more pressure into the cuts on the Yacht because of the slightly thicker blade stock there. So that is something just to keep in mind when you are looking at the two. But a lot of it is going to come down to the gravitas of the blade design itself, what connects with you. The very beautiful, more precision focus blade on the Yacht, or the kind of reverse sheep's foot design broad blade. Reminds me a lot of kind of like the Spydercos having really kind of broad blades of the Biblio XL. So that's the blade profiles overall. Now the steels are very premium in their own right, CPM MagnaCut and LMAX, and we'll talk about that momentarily. But since we are talking about just precision performance, I want to take a moment and give a quick shout out to today's sponsor,
which is Huckberry, and they are an excellent source for high quality gear and apparel.
And there's one apparel brand in particular that's been redefining the way I stay cool and comfortable while I'm on the move in all of my activities, and it's Wellen. For instance, the Soul Performance Collection, which is crafted from Wellen's signature Cool Soft fabric, providing incredible comfort, quick drying tech, along with UV protection. So I stay protected and comfortable whether I'm hitting the trail or casting a line with the Soul Performance hoodie, or snagging a quick jog and wanting to catch some rays at the lake in the Soul Performance tee. But Wellen's got you covered in the lower half as well with their performance lined swim trunks. And I gotta tell you guys, these swim trunks aren't just for the water, though they excel in that, but I've used them on many of my active adventures, going on hikes with them, jogging with them, doing all sorts of different activities. And after that long day of adventuring, I can hop in the hot tub with my wife, and they work perfectly in that environment as well. So I've found that whatever adventures I have come across this summer, Wellen has got me covered. And these are just a few of the designs that Wellen Activewear offers. So I will have a link in the description box below this video, as well as is popping up in the corner right now, over to the Huckberry website, as well as my exclusive 10% off promo code that you can apply towards your very first purchase. So I invite you to discover the perfect blend of style, comfort, and performance in Wellen Activewear. Now, as we look at the blades, obviously everyone and their mom is loving MagnaCut. Your mom called me and she was like, hey, I love MagnaCut, keep talking about it. So I'm just doing what your mom said. And MagnaCut on the yacht is excellent. Rockweld 62, that is important. We're seeing a lot of blades out there with lower Rockwells on the MagnaCut. So it's good to see. I think that's a great like kind of middle ground right there. You can take MagnaCut pretty far up to like 64, 65 on the Rockwell scale. For this type of blade, you're gonna get good rust resistance, edge retention, but also durability. And I found that it's actually one of the easiest ways to resharpen a more high-end blade, meaning the steel is easy to work with. And I'm using here, this actually just showed up in the mail. This is, I think it's an exclusive Work Sharp. This is the folding field sharpener, super light, thin, but you can just hone the blade, MagnaCut, on a ceramic pad, and then obviously if you were to drop it, damage it in some really dumb way, you know, then which way do you guys do it? Push or do you pull? I tend to pull, but I'm trying to do more push and just always, you know, you don't want to slide the blade off. And then you do have that diamond stone right there. There is a, I'll just throw up a link if you're interested. That's popping up right now. But MagnaCut, easy to maintain. And I found it's, even though the Rockwell on the L-Max over here is 60, I found that MagnaCut tends to be a little bit easier for me to maintain. That's me personally. Leave a comment if you're seeing that same type of thing. All right, let's move on here to some other attributes. One of which is that there's a new pocket clip on the Arena if you're interested in. I just heard about this. Now, I love and am addicted to wire pocket clips. I think they're one of the best options. They're very slim. They don't show up, and you know they're very like concealable. They don't rip and damage your pockets as much as many others, and they tend to not create as many hotspots. But if you are interested, apparently GiantMouse has just started releasing a different type of like aftermarket deep ride loop over. That's like 12 bucks. So not that hard to, and not that expensive to upgrade or just kind of, you know, modify. And I'll pop that up right now if you want to go check that out over on their site. That's pretty sweet. So, but for me, no issues with that. They're ambidextrous, so that's excellent, and a great ride for both of these. I really enjoy carrying these in all types of pants. Now, when we look at handle ergonomics, there's a lot to unpack there, and there's going to be a difference that you may or may not really enjoy with these designs. Now, on the Biblio, you have a dedicated choil. You do not have to use that. I am very thankful. With my large size hands, as you guys know, and my span of 3.25 inches from knuckle to knuckle right here, I can just get enough purchase and I don't feel like I'm falling off the blade. Some knives that have a dedicated choil, they basically force you to have to go into the choil. I grab it and use it quite a bit, particularly if I'm doing extended cutting, but for quick cuts, which usually you're gonna be doing with your pocket knife, bam, locks me in and I don't have any hot spots and I feel really in control. The flipper really locks me in with a deep guard right there. This one having that green micarta. I love micarta on my pocket knives. But leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Do you like micarta on your pocket knives, or do you prefer something more like G10 that isn't as impacted by moisture, you know, and gunk and those type of things? Flow through construction right there on the ergonomics, rounded everywhere. You know, that's just the quality that you see, is like there's not any sort of like blockiness and clunkiness. There's really good machining everywhere. We have a brass spacer back there with a little bit of jimping, and then the exposed lanyard hole. I can get a full reverse grip if I wanted to use it that way. Then obviously a large choil fits my index finger, and I can now index the blade very easily. The jimping, this is GiantMouse. This is another reason why I connect with them. When they do jimping, it's very minimal, but it really works. So I really purchase, but it's not sharp, and I really feel in control right there for my slice. And then I can pinch pull because of the way that they've milled the sides here. Really well done. Now on the flip side, you may hate choils. You may be like, I hate choils in general, and particularly on my pocket knives. Well, then the yacht is probably more to your liking. When I grip, you can see there though, I have more real estate. It's just the way that they've done the cut in. The handle kind of tapers. Really nice. The yacht will be a little heavier. I think this is 3.9. If I remember correctly, and then this one is like 4.2, so a little bit heavier. This is black micarta, but it feels and looks like G10. You can just see the ripples in there. I mean, it looks like marble ice cream. I used to get that all the time, or like coffee marble ice cream. I need to get some of that, man. Flow through construction, again, brass backer. No jimping on this one, but we do have kind of more of like a modified glass breaker with a lanyard hole back there. You know, I mean, it's not sharp right there. It transitions really nicely, rounded. And then you are going to have some skeletonization on the frames in there. Fills out the hand. Now, as we go to the deployment, these are both dual deploying blades. Not only do they have flippers, which is a little bit protruding there on the yacht, right there. Whips it right open. Velocity is key. Then you have the GiantMouse eyelet, and easy to engage and flip that way, and definitely can do your middle finger flick. These both will be able to do that very, very nicely. So deployment, both are gonna have caged ball bearings. The cool thing is that on the yacht, it has a hidden stop bar that rides inside a track right there and then locks in. Very solid lockup for liner locks. And that's another thing. Liner lock is probably not my first choice. I'd love to see these in like lockbacks. It'd be so sick at some point. So many people are doing, you know, like crossbar locks or push button locks are really popular right now. But the liner lock really hits center, nice jimp, doesn't create hot spots, and easy to engage and then close the blade on both of these tools. So the play is a little bit more on the Biblio. I have a little bit more side to side, zero up and down, so very solid liner locking. Let me know what you guys think about liner locks in general. Should GiantMouse, you know, start gravitating away from that? Should they do some lockback designs, or is it better to have that because of the execution of the design? Some designs, you know, you really have to have like a liner lock or a frame lock where it's really hard to execute the design. Finger flipper is different on the Biblio. Sticks out and protrudes a little bit more and is a little thinner, but very easy to engage, flies open on those ball bearings. This one, you just have the stop bar down in there, so you can see it, whereas you cannot see it on the yacht. And then you have the finger flipper, or excuse me, the hole that you can just do right there. Very good. Detent drops in, engages. We have a little bit, definitely like sucks in on both of these on the detent. Boom. Now the one thing, now nothing is perfect, right? Nothing is perfect. I mean, I basically cannot find anything wrong with the yacht. Also, I'll say it's near perfection, and I don't know. I don't know what I could say about that. One thing that I did notice on the Biblio XL is that the tip is not quite as recessed as on the yacht. Now, when I just run my finger, I cannot catch it, but I can get my fingernail in there if I kind of work at it, and I can deploy the blade. So I would have liked to have that just ever so slightly backed in, or the handle scales just like a millimeter back out. I haven't found that really on any other GiantMouse, but that is something that I noticed. So again, I can run here and I'm not gonna snag or hurt myself, but if I actually get like meat of my fingernail and really work it, I can snag the tip, and I just can't seem to do that on the yacht right there. It's really buried in on the tip there, both dead center. no issues there. Now, let's talk a few just kind of options and pricing as well. Now, I believe it's most or even all of GiantMouse's pocket knives are currently made in Italy, no exception with these. These are Italian made, precision, high quality steel. So you're gonna pay for that. The cost for the yacht is going for about $215, and then the Biblio XL, I believe, is $225 last I checked. So I will have a link popping up right here, as well as in the description box below, where you guys could check out either of these models and their variants. I do appreciate GiantMouse hooking me up with these models so I can show you guys what their capabilities, limitations, so you can make a wise choice. And just for some competitive options, I have a few that are not GiantMouse, but we will look here momentarily. When I think of just other precise blades that I've had with this level of fit and finish and stuff is like the Jutland. This is an L-Max, several variants. I mean, dude, that blade shape speaks to me. Liner lock. Micarta G10, they have a couple of different steel variants as well, right around that same price. I think the Jutland actually might be like $195. I can't remember, don't quote me on that. And then here's the Altier, and then they have the Grand based off of that as well. I believe I'm saying that right. Very cool, kind of broad harpoon, with that large clip. So this is the smaller, like under 3-inch blade. This is definitely over. This is one of their larger blade options. But again, you're getting like wire pocket clip, micarta, liner lock, very, very cool action. So there is just 4 right there for you to kind of think on and explore as variants or options if neither one of these maybe connected with you quite, and you're like, oh my gosh, that huge clip swedge speaks to me a little bit more than the the yacht. Now on the flip side, particularly if you're thinking of the Biblio XL, a knife that continually comes to mind, still in the collection, yes, I still have it and I love it. The Manix 2 in all its variants, I usually prefer the lightweight, but we can see the wire pocket clip. It has a ball bearing type of crossbar style. It's a ball bearing, but it functions like a crossbar lock. This one happens to be CPM Spy, made about 20 miles from where I live in Golden, Colorado, USA. The Spy is like S30V and S35VN blend, kind of. A few different handle variants, and usually I think now they're like 175. You can get G10 versions now. It's going to be not quite as like elegant, but think dedicated choil, broad blade, slicer out the wazoo. That is a good option to consider. Then for Magna Cut, smaller, but the Kershaw Bel Air, USA made, crossbar lock, very cool, about $150. Nice action, very slicey, a little bit more compact. Deep ride loop over, they did an excellent job. They're transitioning, from what I can tell, with these recessed screws to the deep ride loop overs. So dope. So that is also another good variant. And then just kind of like for cost effectiveness, just to show you, for I think this is like $230. The Magna Cut, 60 to 62 on the Rockwell. So just a lower overall Rockwell scale on the Benchmade and their Water series, right? Their larger blade, plastic. Definitely not as like precise, elegant. Definitely more like working blade, but Magna Cut steel, and it's going to be a little bit more with less Rockwell. Not quite as good edge retention as what's on the GiantMouse in my experience. So just to give you guys some food for thought perspective, but I look forward to hearing from you guys. What is your take? What's your thought on GiantMouse in general? Do you agree that you kind of get bored and tired of all these like super run-of-the-mill cookie cutter type of pocket knives, and you like the idea of what GiantMouse and companies like GiantMouse, they're not the only one, but they definitely are one of the few that really, slaps, as the little young kids are saying now, when a design comes out, or is the model's just not quite speaking to you. I always appreciate your guys' feedback, your time. Thanks for hanging with me, and until next time, always remember, stay equipped, stay prepared. I'll see you out there.